Pacific. What's going on, Jacob?
Hey, good morning, Brian. How's it going?
It's going great, brother. I'm happy that you're here with us. I was just getting ready to tell everybody that you were obviously with me on one of our other shows, had a chance to quickly chat, get to know each other, and you just have a really incredible background, focus, and you're someone that I find very interesting, right? So I wanted to be able to have the chance to feature you a little bit today, not just with the things that you've done, but with who you are, right? And I think that you are somebody that has certainly set a number of speed records as many people would perceive it. Whether they're records in books or not, I can tell you that driving a car over 100 miles an hour for many people is a scary situation. Yet you've gone 103 miles an hour on two skis on snow. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. I've been 103.74 miles an hour on a pair of skis.
Wow. Can you, I want to get into who you are in a second, but can we just start there? Can you tell me what that's like? How do you experience that? What does that feel like in your body when you're going 103 miles an hour on two skis?
So our equipment setup is very streamlined. We have aerodynamic helmets, we have fairings, the poles are bent in shape, but a lot of it is the aerodynamics and the resistance of the wind, especially in the acceleration phase of the run. You kind of feel that sensation in your stomach, just like you're at the top of a hill in a roller coaster, except for you're not on a roller coaster, you're on a pair of skis. But as soon as you get up to speed, it's very smooth, and the acceleration happens very quick. And then it's just kind of like coasting on a cushion of air through the rest of the run.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. What I really appreciate even about the words that you just chose there, I work with a lot of high performers and a lot of individuals and entrepreneurs by helping them identify and take out their trash from their past that's creating resistance and energy drain in their day-to-day lives, right? And I always say it helps them move faster with less energy drain. You just talked about how you are able to basically float on a cloud of speed after you remove the resistance and energy drain and create stability and alignment in the way that you set up yourself on the snow. And the correlation to that I find incredible. And I know that your mind and background so significantly shaped with manufacturing and the understanding of movement helped you actually accomplish this as a skier and is helping you create, obviously, equipment for others to do the same. Can you talk a little bit about just, again, start with who you are. Where are you from? What shaped you into being able to get into snow skiing? Because, by the way, it's not common from where you're from. It's not something people
Right.
think about. So help us understand your journey that helped you be able to even accomplish such a feat.
Yeah, so I currently work as a production systems engineer for Amatrol Inc. They're a technical education manufacturer, and they produce training equipment for community colleges, high schools, trade schools, and industry. I went through my education background as both in engineering and manufacturing. And as far as skiing, I've skied growing up, but there's only a couple local ski resorts where I live. I live in the Midwest area, and so you have to make the most of every single foot of vertical that you have. But I definitely attest my engineering and manufacturing background just because speed skiing is so heavily focused on the equipment setup that they go hand in hand. Just this past week I was working on the boot setup. Actually, I was out in New Mexico, but my background and understanding in those processes and stuff helped tremendously.
I would imagine. And so, it's interesting because you do talk about all of the components that go into creating such alignment and integration with the equipment to be able to accomplish such a feat, right? The intellectual processing, the manufacturing design, the understanding of aerodynamics, right? But there's still a human component that's strapped into those skis. And so I would like to understand, you talked about the technical and mechanical ways that you prepared to get up to speed and how stable it was. But as you started to go faster and faster, right? I don't know, was it ever a goal to go over 100 miles an hour? Was that the vision and goal? One, and two, how did you prepare yourself intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually to expose yourself to potential risk at that level?
Yeah, so I've been doing this for several years now, specifically on the World Cup. This will actually be my second season this next year. To be able to hit over 100 miles an hour in the first year definitely exceeded my expectations, but it was a buildup. When I initially started speed skiing And again, I'm very early on in my career, but in the S2 category, which is the feeder category to World Cup, I was going, my first speed ski run was like 60 or 70 miles an hour. It wasn't very fast by speed ski standards, almost half the speed of what I did this last year. And I remember just being terrified at even that speed. And even before that first competition and speed ski run, I had been practicing for quite some time at even slower speeds, so 20, 30 miles an hour. I mean, it was a progressive build-up to 100 miles an hour. It wasn't like I just went out one day and said, okay, I'm going to go 100 miles an hour, start 30, start 40, start 50, start 60, and continue at each of those speeds to make sure that you're holding a solid technique and tuck position, because that's the important piece is once you get the technique, it's just like lifting weights or other sports or other things, then the principles still apply at the faster speeds, even though some things do change, I will say.
What I also really appreciate is, obviously you'll hear me correlate things back to the human experience, life, and performance, because I think it's all so integrated, right? Yeah. And I think that what's fascinating about the way that you even outline all of that is, again, there are so many people that start out in life, in careers, in business, as entrepreneurs, and anything that they want to perform in, with this idea that, right, I need to be in X position as quickly as possible. And so the expectation is I'm going to go from 0 to 100 overnight. Correct. And then all of a sudden there's judgment and failure and, right, absolute despair because they weren't able to accomplish it. But what you just outlined is, again, through the combination of mechanical engineering, understanding of aerodynamics, the progressive nature of you and your own physical form, as well as your ability to progressively build the capacity to have the tolerance, courage, and conviction to exist in that space. It didn't happen overnight. It happened over progression over time with high levels of awareness and high levels of intentionality in the ways that you refined all of the tweaks within yourself and within the equipment to allow it to coexist and perform at the level that you are and are going to continue to raise. Correct. I love it, brother.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I love hearing all that stuff. So one of the other things that I like about you, and we're going to wrap relatively quickly here because we're going to get into, we got another guest, and I know we were having you jump on a little bit late, so we'll roll here for another minute, but we'll have to have you back for sure, my friend. One of the things that I also really appreciate about you is your focus on community and your focus on giving back. Can you talk just a little bit about how your work at Amtrol, your work in speed skiing, and what you're doing in the communities is kind of all coming together and integrating, and how can people find you and support you?
Yeah, so it's been an incredible journey. I mean, initially when I started out, I didn't realize how closely the community service, engineering, and skiing were all connected. But I'm involved in many different organizations. One is Habitat for Humanity. I'm involved with the local Rotary Club, Optimist Club. I